Welcome back to another edition of Music Monday. This week, we will be reviewing a track off of Saba's newest album titled A Few Good Things, which dropped on Friday the 4th, and I'm recording this video on the 6th, and it will come out tomorrow, which will be the 7th. So, fairly new project, right? And a few weeks ago, I reviewed Stop That, which is actually a track off of this album. It was a single off of this album. Saba, like I kind of mentioned in that prior video, is a guy that really just came up under my radar here recently. I had heard really just one song of his in 2021. I think he released these two singles that were clumped together, and the track that I heard was Ziploc, and I was like thoroughly impressed. And then I found out that he was on the Dreamville project, so there's a song called Sacrifices on there that he's on. This, along with, I had said, Earl Sweatshirt, that was like one of the most hyped albums that I was looking forward to getting in 2022. I have built up an affiliation to this guy, and I'm really excited to see what he has to offer on this project. I haven't gone back and listened to his first two projects, The Care for Me back in 2018, and then there was the Bucket List project in 2016. But everything I've heard from this guy is very artistically creative and different, and he really finds a way to express himself, which is something that I think some artists, or a lot of artists, especially the ones in the mainstream that everybody listens to and you hear their shit on the radio, it just doesn't do me justice. And usually a song that makes it on the radio isn't going to have that high quality, that depth that all of us humans relate to, from our favorite artists, musicians. You're not going to get that depth on a radio hit because you have to censor things, you have to make it less complicated. That's why, fans of artists that usually create music that has a lot of depth, if they ever sell themselves out and make a radio hit, everybody, their entire fan base is usually pissed because they're like, you guys fucking sold out and you made this radio hit, and like, I liked you when you weren't making that shit and you were saying like, fuck the establishment, fuck the radio companies, or the music companies that are encouraging songs that are more transmissible and easy to digest from a larger population of people. That's why they become radio hits, and that's why they become so redundant. Anybody knows what I'm talking about. I think of Olivia Rodrigo. Her debut album was insane. I loved it, but I hear it on the radio all the time. If I ever end up listening to the radio, I usually hear it on the radio at work because that's when the radio's on. But her songs are always playing, and it's become redundant. And like, it's gonna get to the point where people don't want to listen to it anymore. It's like, okay, we've heard this like 5 billion times. So anyways, I've listened to the first half of this album. I did on Friday when it came out. And from what I remember, the first 7 tracks are really highlighting Saba's journey to where he's at. There's a song called Fearmonger where he is expressing the fear of losing what he's obtained. And then there's an interlude track where, he's talking about times where things were a little bit more simple and he's reminiscing. So it's really cool. The whole context of the album so far, at least how I feel about it, is him kind of exploring this idea from all angles about how he got here, how can he obtain it, how much further does he need to go, and, at times, yes, money and achieving status and success can solve a lot of your problems, but it's also going to create more problems for you. So I really like that. I like how he's acknowledged from all angles about where he's at in his life right now. The times of struggle, the times of feeling secure and like he's made it, and then also, you know, not wanting to be complacent and want to continually be in the process of growth on the way forward. So, you know, he can give his fans and for himself, he can give them the experiences, all of them, you know, from where he started to where he's at presently and where he's gonna go in the future. So I'm expecting more of that. That seems to be the theme of the album. Like I said, I went through the first half, first 7 songs. So I'm going to start off with track number 8, which is called A Simpler Time. What did I just talk about? Reminiscing, featuring Mereba. So that's the song that we're going to review. Let's see what Saba has to offer. I just really like the instrumental. It sounds like there's some sort of experimentation going on in the background. Like there's like a bunch of different like buckets and instruments, and he's just like kind of hitting off of all of them. Kind of reminds me of the Blue Man Group. I don't know if they still exist, but when they performed on stage, they would like experiment with a lot of different instruments and hit weird things, and it was really cool. But then there's also like a little bit of these like laser beams that are spread out in the in the instrumental. So that's really cool. It's kind of experimental. It's not something that you hear every day. As far as lyrics go so far, there's not too much context. I think again we're gonna get kind of a crisp explanation of a simpler time when, you know, maybe Saba was struggling as an up and coming artist, but there's a lot of reflection that goes on in that period because, yeah, you're striving for your future, but again, like I said earlier, when you get the success, when you get the fame, when you get the recognition, when you get the acknowledgement, all of a sudden, all those sacrifices that you made previously, now with your new status, create new problems. And that's the thing. It's like problems never go away in life. There's always different sets of problems. You just want better problems. Like we're all gonna have them, but you want to get past the limited ones that fucked with you in your early age, your adolescent years, your early 20s, and hopefully those things start to fall off, and then as you get older you just get better problems, things that are easier to deal with. So she said a little bit matter to show what she needed. If you could provide them, then she won't be leaving. A man in my family can't be no teachers. You learn what you see and no reading. Money can be the security for, but it's important even if you poor. Why pick a fence and a reef on the door? We from the basement, concrete on the floor. Concrete on the deck with a rim, I'm calling check. In a simple autumn weather, get my daughter artist left when the father laid to rest. The money never made me, I'm more than I invest. In the morning I'm a mess, but waking up next to makes it worth it. Said I put in more effort. Said I can't be perfect, but they said I'm getting it right. Been up some days and I've been up some nights. I got the plan and I didn't look twice. All for the simplest life. I put the pain in the shit that I write. Take it for straight, gotta give it some time. I bought the train at the end of the line. That was a simpler time. Wow. Wow, dude. I just caught that line as I was looking at it through the lyrics. Whoever Mereba is, sounds like a female. Thank the sky for slowing time. Shit got too complicated. That's a powerful line. Have you guys ever taken I'm just speaking for myself here. I'm prone to experiencing anxiety and I'm very OCD, so sometimes I get myself caught in these patterns where I'm going super fast. I'm trying to get all these things accomplished, and then that perfectionism creeps in. Everything has to be perfect. You got to do things a certain way. And when I catch myself in that line of thought, in that reaction, I pull myself back. And if I go outside, if I'm on a walk and I limit all my distractions and I look up to the sky and I see the clouds opening up and transforming and moving very slowly, it's so hypnotic. And I think it's partly what helps us humans feel so alive. That's why we're so attached to nature. That's why it's so good for mental health. But anytime that I really just catch myself acting that way and I'm like, okay, hold on, but let's go outside, let's take a walk, let's change up the mind space. And if you're ever caught looking at just such a beautiful transformation of clouds in the sky, and if the sun's setting, dude, it's amazing. It's it feels like all of your problems just kind of dissipate or dissolve. And it's not even that they go away, you just feel more tranquil. You feel more at peace with whatever it is that's going on in your life. And I honestly think that that's where your problems have less of an impact on you. At least it's something that I've kind of learned as I've gotten older, is I know that there's going to be times that I struggle with my anxiety and all those things. And I know that there are going to be times in my life where, it just seems like everything's crumbling. But those moments always kind of bring me back to my center. So I really, really fuck with that line. Thank the sky for slowing time. Shit got too complicated. Sometimes that's all you need in the constant day and age where we're distracted by our screens and our phones and all these things. We're moving so fucking fast. Sometimes the answers that you need are based on just slowing down. Just slowing down, letting your thoughts cease, and usually the answer is right under your nose. And then you're like, oh shit, man, I've been going too fast this entire time, and it's making everything else in my life too fucking complicated. That's a beautiful line. Oh my god. Beastwish? Beautiful. All right, A Simpler Time by Saba featuring Mereba. It's a powerful track. I mean, I don't remember much of what Saba was talking about. I caught some of the lyrics where he was saying, I can't be perfect, but I'm gonna essentially work on my flaws and be better. And it seemed like he was referring to a relationship with a girl he had. But Mereba, like I said, I talked about her first lyrics about, looking at the sky and having everything slow down because life can get very complicated sometimes. And I think, we humans have a remarkable ability to self-sabotage, which makes our life entirely so much harder than it needs to be. And so it's a powerful song. It's a powerful reminder. Again, I don't know what Saba was talking about, but the title is A Simpler Time. If they're reflecting and looking back at the journey and how they got here. You know, I've heard so many quotes and older people say, like, the years that you struggled the most or were the most confused in figuring things out, as you look back, as you get older, you're going to think like those are the most profound times because it taught you so much. And I think that that's maybe the way that we need to look at it. Surely for me, like I said, if I start to struggle with my anxiety or my OCD or the perfectionism, the ADHD, all those things that clump together, instead of reacting so much to it, which is what I would have done in the past, and becoming so attached to it and judging it and having too many feelings about it, instead of doing that, I've gotten a lot better at being more stoic and just looking at it, like understanding that, hey, this is what's happening right now. I don't have to get too involved in it. I just have to outlast it. Feelings, emotions, thoughts, sensations, all of them are fleeting, but we get attached to them. We give them meaning. And again, I am not perfect. I go through this. I still have moments where I struggle, but they've become fewer and far between. And I think that is the blessing that age gives us, is we can look back at those things and say, damn, I grew a lot. I used to be a lot more impulsive. I used to be a lot more reactive when I was younger. I had a harder time dealing with my emotions and dealing with shitty people. I talk about that all the time because the job where I work with people that have intellectual disabilities, and then I work with a bunch of women. So that definitely challenges me because women are, how do I put this nicely? They're very drama ridden, and so that causes a lot of issues at work. But I've had, the gist of what I'm saying is I've had to deal with shitty coworkers. I've had to deal with people supported that can be very irrational at points and very emotional. And the one thing that they teach you and they train you on is you never match their level of intensity or, like, you know, what speed they're at. Like if they're up here, if they're at a fucking 10, really anxious, highly emotional, you got to bring them back down to a 5. You got to be that level head, because emotions are in the moment. They're fleeting. They're always changing. That's why you can't necessarily always trust your emotions. So it's more so like just getting in touch with them and feeling them and understanding, trying to understand where they're coming from and not get attached to them, because your emotions will carry you away and they will fucking destroy your life. So I don't know if that, sorry, that's my rant. I don't know if that's exactly what Saba's talking about, but just the context of the lyrics really made me think about all those things, especially Mereba's line. I really liked the instrumental. I kind of talked about that in the beginning about, it seems very experimental. And that's the one thing that I've noticed with Saba, is that not even like on the instrumental side of things, it seems like he experiments a lot with his voice. Like, the way he fluctuates it in certain songs and the way he like kind of expresses it. I don't know if I have the vocabulary for it. There was a guy that commented on the first Saba video that I did and talked about the tonality of Saba's voice. And so I don't really know how to describe that. I'm just saying that Saba experiments with his voice in a bunch of different ways, like the way he says certain words and how the sounds come out of his voice. And I think it's super fucking cool. I think it's, again, something that a lot of artists are afraid to try because it won't appease to the fan base. It won't appease to the people that have been listening to him. But it's like, dude, if you don't take risk, if you don't try and put yourself out there, and this could either flop, this could fail, or it could succeed, you're never gonna grow. And we need more growth. We need more experience. We need people that are willing to take risk and have the courage to try those things. So anyways, that's the video. That's Music Monday. Again, as always, if you guys are new to the channel, please follow, please subscribe, please like the video. Please take the time to tell your friends if you got something of value from this video, from my channel. If you thought it was interesting, if you liked a new artist that I showed you, please tell somebody. Please tell your like-minded friends, your fun uncle that listens to the same music that you do. Get the message out there, because it is very hard for me to grow this channel in an organic way. It takes a lot of time. It takes constant content, constantly putting myself out there, constantly challenging myself to be better, to be more present when I'm making these videos. But I also need help from other people, because I can't do it all on my own. So anyways, I will see you guys next week. I don't know what artist I will review or what song I will go over, but I'll find something by that point. So yeah, if you guys are new to the channel, please check out Saba's new album. Go support really fucking good artists that do a good work. I think Saba is slowly becoming one of my favorite artists. So yeah, that's the show. Thank you guys. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.